Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here for day 2 of our leadership conference. I'm Bobby Jenkins, and I'm the chairman of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, and it's truly my pleasure to welcome you here today. We were saying yesterday that I think this is my 5th leadership conference, and I think this is a great opportunity for us all to be together. You know, yesterday, day 1, is a lot about training, and today is more about ideas and sharing of information, so really look forward to it. We're going to be talking about top strategic issues facing governing board members and resources to help students address student debt and ways to help make what institutions are already teaching students explicit to them in terms of their workplace skills and lifelong learning abilities. So I think we're really sharpening what our focus is. The state's former long-range plan was called Closing the Gaps by 2015, and that started in 2000, went to 2015, and it was adopted back in 2000 by the Coordinating Board, and that has what has been directed at closing the educational gaps that we have here in Texas, as well as between Texas and the other leading states across the country. Because of the importance of higher education, Texas united around the goals of closing the gaps, and I'm happy to report some of the wonderful results that came from the closing the gaps. More than 2.6 million credentials were awarded during the time that the plan was in place. 2.6 million credentials. Texas also achieved, and this is an important number, 60.6% 6-year college graduation rate from its public universities. So that's 60.6, and that's up from what was 49.6 in the year 2000. So tremendous increase during that period of time. Also happy to report back during that time, community college grad completion rates increased 192%. 192% during that time. Certificate awards increased by 202%. So the Closing the Gaps strategic plan was very, very effective. So now that brings us to where we are today, and I hope, as everybody knows, the strategic plan 60 by 30 Texas, it builds on the success of Closing the Gaps, but the new plan is designed to establish a globally competitive Texas by 2030. We talked about Closing the Gaps was about comparing to states. Now the strategic plan is talking about a global comparison. As I said yesterday, the plan was developed over an 18-month period. The Texas Higher Education Strategic Planning Committee, which was led by Woody Hunt and Dr. Larry Faulkner, the committee included businesses and education leaders from all across the state, and the committee members received testimony from multiple experts and sought input from thousands of folks in the higher education system. And I can tell you, the work that this committee did was absolutely amazing. It really was led by 2 incredible leaders who probably know as much about higher education and are as passionate about higher education as anybody in the country. To have Woody Hunt and Larry Faulkner involved in that was a true blessing for all of us. So the new plan was adopted by the Coordinating Board in July of 15. In November of last year, Governor Abbott formally announced the launch of the plan in McKinney, Texas, and I'm also very, very happy to report back to you the governor, we've had him in several arenas, is very, very supportive of this plan. He really understands the plan in depth and is really supportive of making sure that we all achieve the goals. So one of the strengths of Closing the Gaps by 2015 was the buy-in and strong support from the educational, business, and political communities. And that's what it's going to take for this plan to be successful. We've got to all be in alignment. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. This is one of those ones that I really, really believe, and as I've gone around and spoken to different groups and talking about the strategic plan, the understanding of it has been, people get it, and that's what I'm excited about. It's very straightforward. The metrics on it are very understandable, and I think that everybody who has heard the plan and listens to it and looks at it goes, I see how that will make the state of Texas better and make higher education better. So we're ready to get started. We've got a action-packed morning, and we're going to have a fun luncheon and afternoon, so really looking forward to it. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sheila Stearns, and her full resume and bio is provided in your packet, but I'd like to say a couple of things about Dr. Stearns. She's a native from Montana who has served in a variety of senior administrative positions in higher education, including Vice President of the University of Montana, Chancellor of the University of Montana Western, president of Wayne State College in Nebraska, and commissioner of higher education in the state of Montana. She has served as Commissioner of Higher Education for 9 years. She was Montana's longest serving Commissioner of Higher Education and respected statewide advocate for educational opportunity. She was named Commissioner Emeritus by the Board of Regents in 2012. As Vice President of the University of Montana, she led external relations of the university. As Chancellor of the University of Montana Western, she fostered the early stages of an innovative transformation of the curriculum from the typical semester to 4 blocks per semester of 1 class at a time. Very, very revolutionary. A leading faculty advocate for the change, who was eventually named the National Council for Advancement and Support of Education Professor of the Year for the significance of this innovation. Stearns holds a bachelor's degree in English and history, a master's in history, and a doctorate in educational administration and supervision, all from the University of Montana. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to have with us Dr. Sheila Stearns to be our kickoff speaker this morning. Please welcome Sheila Stearns.